most entrepreneurs around 100K, like the reason they're stuck at 100K is they're just terrible CEOs. They have no idea how to lead, no idea how to train, no idea how to hire. Some people, it's like they don't get it. You're trying to take a 3 to a 7 and a 7 still sucks. Like find a 7 and take them to a 10. The goal is to be rich, not look rich. The hardest position would be like replacing yourself like a CEO. You know, you're doing 10 different things. What I realized as a man is if you're more jacked, you make more money and you got a better girlfriend, hotter girlfriend, it's like, shut the fuck up. In the beginning, it's the best. Like when you're starting from nothing and you're broke and things are not going your way.
With your rapid growing wealth, was there a moment where you, not use the term like questioned the importance of money, but it kind of melted your brain a bit? Because I remember the first time for me, I made like $300,000 in a month. I was like 10 times my year's salary from 2 years ago.
I saw Billie Jean, like that ad, and he's like saying how he's doing $1 million a month. I was like, fuck this, I'm gonna do $1 million a month. And so I hit that goal in 18 months and I like killed myself to get there. Biggest mistake is just not pivoting sooner, not realizing like you've maximized this opportunity and move on. The reason I didn't think that is that's what most people say. And it's usually bullshit.
What do you think is the hardest role to hire for in business?
I mean, anything that has to...
So pleasure today to be joined by Tanner Chidester, who's come all the way over from Miami. Tanner's done over 9 figures online. And I would also say, I think I mentioned this when I met you in Vegas, I don't remember. I remember seeing...
I was messed up,
yeah, you
bro,
kind of fucked up from when you had a head injury. I remember when I was an estate agent, I saw an ad of you with your ClickFunnels awards, I think like a BMW i8, and I was like, if he can fucking do it, I can fucking do it.
Yeah,
now we're sitting here, so it's quite a cool story.
Bro. Yeah, that's exactly right. I remember I was, for me, it was like Billie Jean. But I saw Billie Jean, and I, like, no disrespect to him, I was just like, bro, if this guy, this like chubby guy, like, they come on, like, I can do it, you know? So, but a lot of people, they go the opposite direction, but that's good. I mean, it's the same. It's like if someone else can do it, you can do it too.
How important do you think kind of proof of concept is for people to kind of be successful?
Like in what way? What do you mean proof of concept?
In terms of seeing that someone's actually done the thing. And I think what's been important for me is actually getting in the room and like seeing someone physically as well who've
I think, I mean, you know, seeing that as possible is helpful. Yeah. I think some people though, even if they see it's possible, they still won't do it. Yeah. They'll still come with the excuse. But yeah, you know, once one person's done it, it's hard for you to say, it's not possible. It's like the 4-minute mile. Like before someone did it, it's impossible. Then someone does it. Oh, everyone's running 4-minute miles. So it's that's the crazy part about the human brain is, you know, when you believe you can actually do something, that's usually what will make it happen. So I think for some people it helps, but those are probably already kind of killer mentalities. They want to be more people who, not really. I don't know if it makes a difference because I feel like those are the people who are like on ads and talking shit and, you know, no matter what you show, they're like, oh, it's probably fake. It's probably only that some people just say some stupid shit. I remember today someone said, I don't usually look at my comments. I just saw it though. When the guy said, yeah, like this guy said he did 115 million. That's usually 10% margin, which is like completely obviously wrong. And then he's like, if he made this much, you wouldn't be doing it. And I'm like, but bro, like you don't understand. Like you have to do something. Like it doesn't, you know, but like they don't get it because they haven't been there. So there's just stuff like that all the time.
But even if you did do 10% margin, you still made 15 million.
Yeah, but
so
even that, it's like he just doesn't understand the business.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, like 10% is like horrendous in service space. Like, so even at scale, let's say you do 30%, you pay 50% tax. Yeah, but it doesn't matter. It's just people are like, they have like limited mindset. And if they see someone doing better, I just think most people, it hurts their ego. So they won't improve. The other people, it hurts their ego, but they believe it can do better. Like, so it hurts my feelings if I see someone killing it, but I'm like, yeah, like it is what it is. He's better than me. I got to get better. I think that's just a healthier mindset.
I would say one of the big things I see from the outside, you clearly fucking hustle and work really hard and you're very regimented in terms of what you do. And this is why from the outside, I resonate with you straight away because you're into fitness. You're clearly like very routine orientated. What would you say like your kind of perfect routine looked like maybe back when you were in like the hustling phase of getting going and then maybe now at like a 9-figure business? Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, when you saw me, it wasn't going too good, but in my defense, I had that concussion. So very serious concussion. But when I started, to be honest, usually I wasn't working out as much. And the reason I wasn't working out as much at that point was I kind of had the pictures I needed. I started running ads as we're converting and I started to realize, okay, I'm going to the gym for 3 hours. And it's just cutting back on the amount of time I can work. And the less time I can work at that point in the business, I'd make less money. So I'd say like a typical day, usually I would get up 5 or 6 just when I woke up. I'd immediately start responding to like all my messages, like any messages, clear the inbox, clients, etc. And then I would start sending messages. And then, you know, that would kind of catch up after a few hours. And then I would just be doing that most of the day. When I had sales calls, I would take sales calls. probably midday, like noon, I'd start sending all my clients check-in messages, like just like rapid fire. Everyone would reply. I'd usually wait like 2-3 hours. So everyone had replied, and then I'd reply again, and then everyone replied. And then, you know, I'd reply maybe one more time. So like 2-3 times a day. But I did that on purpose because I just realized how hard it was to go back and forth between things. I just pretty much worked though. I mean, and so I got, like, at that time I was like a little bit chubbier, wasn't as in shape, but it was kind of the trade-off. Now that I have a pretty big team, typical days, like, so even today, like, get up. Today I had to get up pretty early. So, you know, usually I like to get up, let's say 5:30 max. Like, usually it's like 5. Go to the gym. I usually will train for 2.5 hours. And the reason being is I do about an hour and a half of weights, give or take, hour 45 minutes. I do 45 minutes of cardio. I do Stairmaster. I know that's probably overkill, but I just love it, and it makes me feel better. And then when I get back, I'll go straight into work, and then I work all day, usually. And then maybe at nighttime, I might do sauna and a cold plunge. Like when I'm in my place setup, right now I don't have it set up. And that's pretty much it. All my meals are prepped. Like I have a cleaning lady like you know, I don't spend any time on that, but this is probably the best I felt in a while. Like when I'm 200-ish or like 190 to 200, like I'm really lean. I feel really good. I'm sleeping really good. I'm taking 1 million peptides on top of that. Yeah, I take 1 million peptides. And I think, I don't know, I just noticed when I mean, it's pretty common sense, but like after I was trying to recover from the concussion, I got back to like just whole foods, cut out anything that's really processed for the most part. And then I just sleep better. I feel like I don't need as much sleep. My workout's better. I mean, you know the drill. So it's crazy when you are really on top of your fitness and nutrition. I feel like everything else goes 10 times better because like even last night, I probably got 4.5 hours of sleep. But to be honest, like I felt, you know, I'm a little bit tired today, but comparatively, like I don't feel as tired as I usually would, I think. So those are kind of my routines.
Quick interjection to the podcast. My passion with this podcast is to give you as much value as possible because I've had a huge amount of people help me over the years. Now I have one small ask. I'm giving you as much value as I can for free. Is if you like the podcast, you're getting some value, please share it with a friend and leave us a 5-star review. Now back to the episode.
Tired as I usually would, I think. So those are kind of my routines.
Do you think a lot of people neglect the fitness aspect? So I spoke on a podcast, actually, I think you spoke on it as well today. And one of the big things I think is superpower most people neglect is actually looking after your physical health because our brain and the way we think is what's ultimately going to determine our results. If you're fitter, healthier, stronger, you have more almost like intellectual horsepower, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think like, so at least for me in the beginning of the business, I can understand it more because there is a trade-off. So it's like, 100%. You got to decide like what you're going to do. So for me, even let's say I'm at 80%, but I work 3 more hours, I feel like I could get more done. But yeah, once you have a team in a business and you have people who can do things for you, to me, the only thing I really feel like I do for me is working out. And so to me, it's like, that's the one thing I need to do because it helps with my stress and obviously keep me in better shape. And when I'm in better shape, I think better, I perform better. So most people do. I mean, obviously, you see people walking around. But the funny thing too is like, once you get in a habit, it's easy. Like right now, I don't crave really sweet food at all. And I just haven't been eating it for, I don't know how many weeks now. And then you notice when you start like having them again, then your body starts to crave it again. So, you know, I don't know, like right now it's like been pretty easy for me. But I think when I last saw you, I was getting up there. I was like probably 222 and now I'm back down to like 198. You know, and it's like, I guess when you're super lean, like you're still not like quote unquote fat, but you know, I was getting chubby, yeah.
And I think it's also just different standards. I think what's also important is that when you're happy with how you look, you're also more confident, and then that kind of like flows into everything else you do. And also, if you're an online entrepreneur, there's probably a high chance you spend a lot of time on camera. If you're more happy with the way you look, and also it's going to come across.
It helps. I think also it just helps you in general because if people see you're in shape, it builds more trust. Like you know, if I see someone who's in really bad shape, maybe not even like not okay shape, whatever. But if they're in really bad shape, I'm like, I don't know, man, like. That to me, it just shows like they're not really taking care of themselves. So like, how do I know they're going to take care of my business? I think there's a statistic out there too. If you're better looking, you make more money. And I think that's got to be part of it because like how you look is kind of like a representation of how you perform and like what your habits are. And so if you see someone with bad habits, like, yeah, they might be really good at business, but I don't know. That's how I feel at least.
100%. Now with your growth in business, one of the things I see a lot of people struggle with is being able to delegate and not wanting to be control freak and do everything.
Yeah.
Is that something you've struggled with, and what would be your advice to anyone listening to this? And what maybe to get rid of in kind of order?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I did struggle at some point, but I think part of what really helped me is the first 2 hires I hired my brothers, and my brothers were top notch. They worked for me for 5 years. Top notch. They just like, I didn't really train them, didn't really have SOPs. I was just like, don't be a pussy, do it. And they did it, you know? And then I got lucky on like, I would say like my first 5 to 10 hires. And so from there I made some bad hires, but once I had a good solid base, it was okay. I think one of the things that helped me actually was, you know, some people might look at me and they say, oh, he's really harsh, he's really blunt, he's really to the point. But that's actually what helped me in the beginning, because I would tell people, look, like, you got to get the job done. I don't give a fuck. Get it done or you're fucking fired. And that probably is a little too harsh how I did it. But what happened later as I built a team is I kind of went too far this way. Like, people are like, you're too harsh, your expectations are too high, come over here. And then I went over here, and then it just went to shit, because I had a bunch of like people on the team who they just didn't see the world the way I saw it. They're just like, yeah, 8 to 5, like clock in, clock out. Like, if I'm busy and shit, I don't have to do it. Like, they don't care about the business, versus maybe you get someone who really takes pride in performing at a high level. You know, and then after I built the team to 100, we've trimmed it back down to 40. I mean, I've just experienced a lot. So I think I really have a good feel on like how to hire now. Most entrepreneurs around 100K, like, the reason they're stuck at 100K is they're just terrible CEOs. They have no idea how to lead, no idea how to train, no idea how to hire. Some people, it's like they don't get it. I don't even know how to sometimes explain it, but they're just not they don't make it pleasant for their team to work for them. And I try to get them to understand, it's like, look, you have to make it like a win-win to some degree. It's like, yes, you're paying them, yes, they have stuff they have to do, but sometimes like they don't make it a win-win. So like, they'll even look at pay. They're like, oh, I don't want to pay that much. I'm like, but dude, like, if you were them, would you do it for this much? And they're like, well, no. It's like, okay, like, you got to pay more. So if I give anyone advice on hiring, number one thing is make sure they think the way you think. Meaning, like, if you're Republican and they're liberal, that's fine. Or like, you go to the beach and they hate it, that's not that shit. It's like the key stuff for the business. So do they value hard work for me? Or like, do they reply to clients quickly? They think that's important. Do they want, like, do they just seem like a person who actually wants to be the best they can be? Like, if I can tell like that stuff's not ingrained in them, they're just like trying to get a paycheck, I don't want them on my team. And then number 2 would be the skills. Like, have they done it before? So, you know, like, if you wanted to learn basketball and I had never played basketball, you wouldn't hire me. People do that shit all the time. It's like, he has potential. It's like, but he hasn't done it. So what ends up happening is they hire people who they don't have the skills or they don't have the mindset. And then they spend all their time managing a dumbass. And it's like, dude, you're trying to take a 3 to a 7 and a 7 still sucks. Like, find a 7 and take him to a 10. And I learned that just over like hundreds of employees. You know, I had a team of 100, but obviously like I had even more people I've hired. So I'll answer the question. I know that was a lot, but I mean, if you like, your business is only as good as your team. That's the irony. Like, as you get to a bigger point, you realize like, no matter how much you micromanage, you'll never be able to micromanage enough to control everything. So it really comes down to how good is your team, and then you're really just casting the vision or the strategy, and your team can implement it.
This is one of the difficult things I had to learn, is that I couldn't be the bulldozer and do everything myself. And the bigger the business got, the more you got watered down in your effect and what you were doing. So then, like, the things I used to think were bullshit when I was younger, like team culture and like that type of thing, then became, and like values became very important. Like, is everyone kind of singing from the same hymn sheet? Is there a certain red flags you look for when like interviewing straight away, like, this is an absolute no?
So could be different for everyone, but for me personally, if someone's asking about how much time they get off, work-life balance, you know, I don't want to have to come to these calls or get up this early, that type of shit, they're gone. Because I'm just like, everyone else on the team has to do it. I'm not going to make exceptions. And if you make an exception, not only does that, you know, bring the team down, but then other people see you made an exception for them, so then they stop taking it as serious. So I try to have high standards and hold people to the standard. If someone doesn't hit the standards, like, don't bring them on. I don't care how long it takes. I just think of a team like a wife. Like, you got to think of every employee like a wife. Like, you wouldn't go, oh, she's good enough, I'll take her. It's like, no, fuck that. It's like, it's either they hit the mark or they don't. And in the beginning, you know, you might be growing really fast, and you know, you just don't want to feel the pain of going through a million interviews. You're like, holy shit, I've already done so much. And there's ways that I think people don't streamline that process very well, and you could make it a little easier, but you just have to hold out. You just have to hold and hold and hold. And so I think that's what I learned over time is you get impatient and you're like, oh, well, I've had to do so many interviews and this. Like, yeah, because you're looking for this person and these people are rare. So that would be my biggest mistake over time is just hiring like too fast. Like we just get someone in here. He's good enough. And then, you let him stay for too long. When you see red flags, I would try to be, I guess people said I was too harsh. So they're like, be more patient. I was like, okay. Like I'd be patient. I see dumbass thing. And like 3 months later, I was like, fuck this. Like you were literally the same way week 2 as you were now. It's like stupid. So some people might disagree with that, but like even leadership books, I think what they get wrong is they assume that your team is smart, but like some people are not smart. So like leadership books are like, yeah, do this for your team and they're going to really respond. I'm like, no, smart people will respond. Dumbasses will not respond. So it's a harsh take, but that's how I honestly feel.
Yeah, I agree completely. I think probably the big mistake I was making at the beginning was anyone who had a pulse, I would basically hire because I'm like, well, that solves a problem. Like you can go do this, you can go do it. Yeah. And then you suddenly realize like, it's actually way more difficult when you've got retards in a business making mistakes.
You might as well do it yourself or just like let it hemorrhage because they come in and it's literally worse and you're stressed all the time because they're not actually doing their job. Makes it worse.
Your business exploded pretty quickly at the beginning. Mm-hmm. Knowing what you know now, having done over 9 figures, what would you say are the biggest mistakes you made that maybe you would go back and change in hindsight?
Yeah, I don't know if I would change much. I part of the reason it just moved so fast is all I did was work, like literally. I even look back from 12 years old, like it was more sports related, but from 12 to 27, I pretty much just worked. Like I look at my 20s, like I didn't have a 20s. Like I didn't even like 28, 29, like just no 20s. So what would I do different? The only thing I would do differently is just if I can mitigate some of my mistakes, but I don't know if you can mitigate all your mistakes. So for example, like the hiring, like I wish I hadn't hired dumb people or people who like didn't work as hard, that type of stuff. Other than that though, like I'm pretty happy with the journey or make decisions faster. Like, so two years when I started my business, I made like $2,000 and I wish I'd hired a coach sooner, stuff like that. But other than that, like I'm pretty happy with the journey. And like something that's been interesting too is I don't know what happened with your business like during COVID and stuff, but like my business was on like the rise. We're growing like $100,000 to $200,000 a month every month right when COVID hit, and then COVID hit and went up even more, and then COVID ended, it started going down. And I thought it was me, like obviously like a normal like hard worker, I guess you just think it's you. But then over time, I kind of realized it was a little bit of the economy shifted, right? Obviously everyone's going online now, not everyone's going online. And so instead of kind of like bitching and moaning, I started like looking into different interviews with high level people who sold from 40 million to 4 billion. I started seeing, hey, a lot of them have portfolio companies or were in tech or hedge funds. And I started moving that direction. And so now all that stuff is starting to pay off. Like one of my portfolio companies this month, I think he's going to hit $1 million. Like with like 100 to 200 grand to spend. He spent 25 grand to 300. And I'm like, dude,
what's the offer?
Dude, it's day trading, but he has a tech component. So what he does is $250 a month, but he decided to do a 5-day challenge and sell it all on the challenge, like up front. And he's like, hey, it's usually $250 a month. It's $3,000 a year. But if you guys pay today, it's $2,000 up front. And he got like an extra 200 something thousand of revenue, just like that. And so like what I've seen as well is if you have a good CEO and a better offer, like you can do like pretty much average marketing and it just fucking crushes, versus you have really good marketing, really good sales team, really good fulfillment, all that stuff, but your offer is kind of competitive. So like I would even say in our space, it's more competitive now. And so yeah, you can still make money, but what I started to realize is at the highest levels of the game, it's really like they're working the same amount, it's just they're in better vehicles. Most people are not working hard enough, but I think as you start to go up the ladder, everyone's working as hard, but people have different opportunities, right? And you know, the easy way to think about it is like if you see a service worker who's a bartender, yeah, he's working hard, but it's like how much can he really make? Versus, you know, you have a business, you have leverage or investments or whatever. So, yeah, I mean, other than just making decisions quicker and like not making stupid hires, I'm pretty happy with my journey, to be quite honest with you. In fact, I don't know if I said this to you, but when I had my concussion, someone said, hey, you almost died. Like, how do you feel about that? I like sat there and I was Like, honestly, I'm pretty happy. Like, and that was a great feeling because, like, you don't. That's what you think about is your regrets. Like, do you have things you regret? And I'm not perfect. I made mistakes. There's things I wish I had maybe done better, like not said this or did that. But overall, the big stuff, I was like, yeah, dude, like I fucking crushed it. You know, I did everything. I did the best of my ability. Like, if I met God and He's like, you could have done better, I would be shocked. I'd be like, really? Like, where? That's kind of how I felt.
The reason I'm smiling is I feel the exact same. It's a really warped thing that I think about. It's like, if I drop down a heart attack tomorrow, it's like, I had a fucking go. Like, and I was happy with what I've done. And the window
that's all that matters. That's all that matters is like, everyone has this, but it's the choice. It's like you can fear regret or you can fear. And so like guys like you and me, I just think we fear regret more than we fear fear. So 100%. we just push and we're still scared. We're like, what if it doesn't work out? But it's like, fuck it. Like if I don't do this, I'm going to fear that more. Most people, they fear. Like they're just scared of fucking everything. And I'm like, dude, you're just going to have all this regret when you die. That's how I view it, at least.
A big thing that's changed the last 2 years is obviously AI. How do you see that affecting the info and coaching space?
Yeah, it's crazy how fast it's moving. I think the biggest thing that I think for sure is I don't know if you use HeyGen.
No.
HeyGen is HeyGen. I think within 2 years, like you'll be able to shoot videos without being on camera. That's how good it is. Like I honestly think like 2 years you could just like have a YouTube video or podcast and you're like, hey, this, and it would just like spit it out and it look like you. That's like one of the bigger things I see. Outside of that, I just think it might make people more replaceable. And I think right now like there's a trust recession because there's so much information that it may just I guess it's easier to just get now, or like ChatGPT. Like you can go on ChatGPT and just ask stuff. But I don't know. I think there'll always be a need, but at least my opinion right now in this space particularly is it seems like there's lower trust. Like people, you know, they've taken a course or coaching program, they've had a bad experience. And then I would say just like the big thing that at least I see that would make a difference is like just your content. Because if you can AI generate most of your content, you don't have to be on camera. I mean, that saves you hours and hours and hours a week, right? Outside of that, maybe just like helping, like saving payroll on your team. So like, I don't think it's there yet, but maybe you get to the point where you could just have it write all your copy. I still have a copywriter because I don't want to like have to go on like ChatGPT and be like, all right, for this client, this is all his stuff. Here's this, here's that, because it still takes time. But I think those are the biggest things. Outside of that, I guess maybe just like I guess one of the things I've even been working on is trying to create like a sales bot for specific clients, specific avatars. So on paper, it has to be good. Like there's a lot of shitty sales bots, but like hypothetically, if you could get one that could perform better than their team and they could fire their whole team and not manage it, you could charge, let's say $1,500 a month. No problem. Because a setter is usually like $2,000. So there's some stuff like that I've been working on too, but I don't know. It's hard to say, bro. It's like everyone has all these speculations, but no one really knows.
I think the space is evolving so quickly that you also don't know how consumer awareness and buyer behavior will even like be affected by these things. So like, for example, you could get like AI closers, but then people are going to kind of know they're talking to a robot, and do they want to talk to a fucking robot?
Yeah,
no. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I don't know. Yeah, see, and like that, I think it'll get there, but I don't think it's there yet. I see like a lot of like kind of setter dialers. Yeah. Those are like okay, but I think a few of those things like they're just not at a human level yet. But yeah, I mean, hypothetically, yeah, if it gets there, sure. Yeah, I don't know. It depends on your offer too. Like if you're talking to business owners, they'll probably know. But if you're talking like B2C customer, like sometimes they're too stupid to know.
So you scaled your business predominantly paid ads, right?
Oh yeah. Like
so, how much have you spent in total?
I think it's like 30 million or something. Big number.
So with right now in the future, how do you see paid ads maybe getting affected with AI, and maybe how has that changed over the last few years?
Yeah. So number one, I've spoken about this, like the offer makes the biggest difference. So to my portfolio companies, basically just so everyone understands what portfolio, it just means I have equity in another company, right? I'm a part owner. Their ads do better because the offer is better, right? So like my main offer for years has been business consulting, right? Very red ocean, lots of competitors. In short, it's like, hey, I'll show you how to make money. It's like not that enticing. But two of my portfolios, one is a day trading one. So it's like buy this automation and it'll trade for you and make you rich. Like in theory, right? Like it's very simplistic, but people are like, yeah, like they're lazy. They just want to click a button. The other one is how to get your high school student into Ivy League schools.
I remember you telling me about this.
Dude, the CEO of that, yeah, bro. And like they get like 15 to 25x on their ads. So that's the first thing to understand. The second thing, going to your question, is like how AI is going to affect it. What's crazy is the ones me and my team use, we use VO3, we use HeyGen, and we use ZebraCat. Right now, one of my ads that's crushing, like $5-6 lead costs, it's like a ugly ass ad. I mean, it is literally just like pictures with like text, and it's like it's just like literally a voiceover, and it's just like sliding pictures, and it kind of looks like shit, but it's killing it. And it's kind of annoying because I put all this time and effort into ads, and like, yeah, like this is the best ad, this is what we're gonna run. So I think the benefit of that, what I do like, is one, I don't care if it's a shitty looking ad as long as it performs. And then number two, you can get it up and like exported the same day. So like, if you shoot a video with your team, you shoot a video, maybe it takes a couple days for them to, edit it, export it. So you're able to get ads out there a lot faster. That's really what I've seen so far. I'm sure it'll get like more complex and stuff, but at the end of the day, I think the benefit is, hey, you can literally get an ad up and not have to shoot anything and post it the same day. And sometimes it outperforms your regular ads. And that's been a huge benefit for me because I'm like, okay, if it outperforms my regular ads, why the hell would I just not use this?
You solely running ads on Facebook, Meta?
Yeah.
I think, in my opinion, YouTube ads are wrecked because of the premium thing and people being able to opt out of them a lot.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've always, so what's interesting is we ran a ton of ads on Facebook. Now we run almost no ads on Facebook. And this is over a 7-year period. We run almost predominantly 100% on IG. YouTube, like I had a short window where it did okay. Now it's like we just basically only retarget. I've never had good success with YouTube, but I have other clients who do really great with YouTube. I think the big thing is just make sure you're doing the fundamentals, and then the rest of it usually comes down to the offer, right? And B2C offers, if you can pull them off, if it's a good B2C offer, those usually do better because they can go a lot broader. So like both those portfolio companies that I'm talking about, those to me is B2C. It's like day trading, and then how to, get into college and stuff. And the college one I really like just because it's targeting wealthy parents basically. Like it's like, hey, Ivy League school. Ivy League schools are super expensive in the US. So it just targets like perfect parents, urgency, there's scarcity, got to get the kid in now. He's running out of time. There's a year left. So anyways, that's kind of my take.
With your career, what's the one decision that made you the most money and maybe lost you the most money?
Ooh. Made me the most money. Probably making me the most money. It's obviously like just I've ran a ton of ads, so I get a lot of leads, but it's just like having more premium offers on the back end. So I think probably the one that's made me the most, millions of dollars for the least amount of effort, is I've sold like one-to-one coaching with me for as low as $68,000 up to $200,000 for a year. And when you get clients coming through that, let's say $200,000, you get 5 clients, it's $1 million of profit, like pure profit. Like there's no fulfillment costs, there's no ad costs, something like that. So that's probably, outside of investments and stuff like that, that's probably been like the most money in terms of like profit and just like ease of implementation. The worst mistakes I made have just been like getting shiny object syndrome. What happened to me was I eventually got to 2 million a month, and we're trying to crack that. And looking back now, the reason like we couldn't crack it is just it's an industry issue, meaning your team is super fucking big, you're running shit tons of ads, like you're basically optimized as much as possible. So why can't you get past 2 million a month? Usually in this industry, it's because you can't get everyone the same result, right? You get 10 different business owners, 5 get results, 5 don't. What's the difference? These are better, these are shittier. It's because it's based on performance and effort and all that type of stuff. So where was I going with that? Hold on a sec, I just lost my train of thought. Say your question one more time. I'm sorry, bro.
What was the thing that made you the most money? What thing that lost you the most money? Maybe.
Yeah. So what lost me the most money? Going back to, I apologize. So what lost me the most money is because that happened. I'm always thinking it's my fault, and so I just spent a lot of time, like probably 2 years almost, trying to just like figure this out, like try different offers and strategies and all this other shit. And it was kind of like didn't really do much because I'd optimized it to oblivion. The only way to like make more money was to keep customers longer, but the customers who don't get results leave. And you kind of know in this industry, like not every single person is going to get like top tier results because like they're not top tier. So what I started doing is I took my eye off the ball, and I probably should have like gone more into like the portfolio, like hedge fund tech route, because after interviewing a lot of wealthy individuals, that's kind of what I saw. But instead I got shiny object syndrome. And like, I remember like I dumped like in stupid stuff. I dumped like $100,000 into this guy teaching me how to like buy and flip businesses. And it was like stupid because I thought, oh, it's only going to take me a couple hours a day. But then of course, when you get into it, it's always more than that. And then I was putting time and effort into this, which is a zero, versus focusing on the thing that was already making me money. So it's probably shit like that. But I just didn't know at the time, like if I could give someone advice now, it's like this industry, like let's say information marketing, online marketing, you can make good cash. But if you're trying to like get to $1 billion or, 9-figure exit or something like that, this is not the vehicle. This is just not the vehicle. And the reason it's not the vehicle is because if you look at the biggest, best businesses like on earth, the reason they're the biggest and the best is because every dumbass gets the same result as the smart people. ChatGPT, it's like you're a dumbass, you type it in, boom. Uber, boom. McDonald's, boom. Like consulting, not boom. It's not like that. And so that just took me a while. And a lot of people go, oh, well, in consulting, I'm going to get everyone results because I'm going to do all their shit for them. It's like, cool, stay small. It's not possible. It's like, yeah, so you're small. Or they're like, no, I'm going to do it big. It's like, can't do it. Your costs are too high. Now you've hired a fucking massive team, and then that has its own issues. So that's probably my biggest regret or like biggest mistake is just not pivoting sooner, not realizing like you've maximized this opportunity and move on. And the reason I didn't think that is that's what most people say. And it's usually bullshit. But there does come a point where you do maximize it. And what really kind of reinforced it for me and made me switch is I saw Hermosi leave. I was like, okay, that's interesting. He's smart as shit. I saw Sam Evans leave. I was like, he's smart. I saw Alex Becker pivot. I was like, okay, like something's happening. And so I decided like, hey, I can either learn that and kind of get in the new arena, or I can stay here and basically make the same amount every year. And that's what I think a lot of entrepreneurs do. There's nothing wrong with that. But, there's some guys who stay in the same industry for 20 years and they make the same money for 20 years because like taking a risk is what got you here. And then they stop taking risks. It's like, you got to keep leveling up and learning new things. And I think a lot of people stop.
Well, I would even say it's not taking new risks. It's even just looking for bigger vehicles.
Yeah.
Bigger upside.
Yeah. But like, I guess technically that is a risk because if you're making 100,000 a month, to learn a new thing, and then also like you have to make a decision, like can you maintain the 100,000 a month while you're learning the new thing, or do you go down? And they're like, oh, I don't like want to learn a new thing, or I don't want to lose the money. And I think that's what keeps a lot of people stuck. I don't know. For me, I'm just different. I think I just don't give a fuck. Like I just don't, and I like live a very for the most part, like yes, I do have lavish parts of my life, but for the most part, it's pretty modest compared to what I make, what I spend. So I just think like allows you to take more risk and be willing to do that versus people. It's like they're spending every last fucking dollar they have to like look the part or something. And I'm like, dude, it's like for what?
And Miami and Dubai are both rife for that.
Yeah, of course.
You would know as well as I do, like the amount of people who you speak to or even work as clients who are then like they look a certain thing, but then they're broke on the other fucking side of it.
Yeah, the goal is to be rich, not look rich. Mm-hmm. Like if you like stuff, you like flashy things, more power to you. But there's a lot of people, like for example, I did a post the other day, like I took a screenshot, I invested $1.4 million in some investment, like sent a wire, and I like ChatGPT, like it was like you can get 2 Bugattis, like down payment, 2 Bugattis, like it was like 12 Lambo Aventurors or something, it was like 24 like Lambo Huracans or some shit. And I was like, dude, like these guys fucking post a car and you guys lose your fucking mind. It's like, it's not like that. It's not bad. It's not like, it doesn't mean they don't have money, but it just mean like, it's a fucking down payment. It's not that fucking crazy probably. And I think people just lose their fucking minds. And I just personally don't get why.
With your rapid growing wealth, was there a moment where you, I'm not using the term like questioned the importance of money, but it kind of melted your brain a bit? Because I remember the first time for me, I made like $300,000 in a month. I was like, it was like 10 times my year's salary from 2 years ago. Yeah, so I was like in a month. So I was like, for me, I was like, I couldn't almost compute with it initially.
Yeah. When I started, because I saw Billie Jean, like that ad, and he was like, he's like saying he's doing $1 million a month. I was like, all right, fuck this. I'm gonna do $1 million a month. And so I hit that goal in 18 months, and I like killed myself to get there. And I was feeling myself. I threw this party, and I had like there was a bunch of random people there, plus people I knew. And I remember a guy. I've told this story a few times. Like I remember a guy came over and he was like, "Hey, like, is this your party?" And he's like, "Is this your house?" Like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Cool, dude." He's like, "Why are you throwing the party?" And I was like super happy. I was like, "Yeah, dude, I hit $1 million in a month." Blah blah blah. Whatever I told him. And I just remember he was like, so did not give a fuck. And he was like, "Cool." And that was it. And I was like, wow. I just thinking like I'd sacrifice my life, like every living moment for 18 months plus, like for that. And he didn't give a fuck. And that really took me down like a path of like depression, because the next day I remember looking over my balcony, sick view of Miami. And I was thinking, man, like, if that's not impressive and most people don't do that, like there's no hope for like Mark Zuckerberg and these other, like there's no hope for me. Like, because there's probably people on the earth, they don't even know who Mark Zuckerberg is. Like, as stupid as that sounds. And yeah, that took me down kind of a little bit of a spiral, I would say, of depression. But then when I came back, I got to a place where I just realized, look, it's good to have goals. We're human. I think that's what brings happiness. I do think having goals is good. But just understanding when you actually hit the goal, it's not going to make you feel probably the way you think. And so it's who you become in between the start of the goal and the end of the goal. Because to hit those goals, you have to become a different person. And that's where I try to find the fulfillment, is who am I becoming to become that type of person? Because you obviously have to be different. And I think a lot of people, like, they haven't made a lot of money, so they're not there yet. In fact, I remember when I was poor trying to become rich, people said money doesn't make you happy. And I was like, you're fucking poor. Shut the fuck up. But to be honest, like once you get there, you kind of realize like it's great. It makes your life better, but it's not gonna be how you think it's gonna be. And so I had to get back to my roots. Like, okay, why am I doing this? And after enough soul searching and stuff like that, I just realized I just like it. Like, I don't know. I like doing hard things. I like pushing myself, and there's really no other reason for that. And the good part is when you get to that place, you actually will have more success because you're not driven by a monetary number. You're driven by progression. And like, if you want to progress, then it's like there's never a finish line. It's like, if you're in shape, you want to stay in shape. If you're rich, you want to stay rich or get richer. Like, if you're married, you want to stay married. So that's kind of how I view it.
It's funny because I've had a lot of that recently, where I got the car I wanted, I live where I want, I have kind of all the material things I want, and I'm like, I don't feel any fucking different. Nothing's changed. Like, you still have the same problems, or maybe the same internal demons that maybe drive you, and you're like, well, like, the fuck was this all for? Because I still don't feel any differently like 3 years ago in some regards.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And sometimes it just causes more stress. Like, because you as you make more money, you can elevate your lifestyle a little bit, and sometimes it creates more stress. And then you're thinking, so the whole point of making money was to get freedom, and then you're giving up your freedom to make more fucking money. It's like, that literally makes no fucking sense, right? And then like you're literally making money to pay for the fucking shit that you thought you wanted that isn't really making you happy. So again, I think there's a balance. I had that phase and I got through it, and then I think now I really hate owning shit. Like, I fucking hate it. It's weird. I just really hate it. I'm sure maybe I'll get a couple, stupid things more in life. I don't know, but yeah, I had to go through that phase. Like, I had a Lambo and all these other things, and like 6 months I like did not care.
You also took 6 months off work.
Yeah,
it's like a sabbatical. Why?
Honestly, it was like I was actually trying to sell the company. Like, I was trying to pull myself out and do it, and it like didn't really work. But yeah, it was not like a good time. I didn't realize, but I felt really shitty. But I didn't realize till I came back and started working. I didn't realize how shitty I felt. And I just think the reason was because when you wake up every single day and you're just thinking about yourself all day long, like, that's not a good place to be. And that's all I was doing. It's like, I'd wake up, I was traveling the world. I'd wake up, what do I want to do today? What do I want to do today? And it's just, I don't think that's like how we were meant to be. You need to have goals and obstacles and things that are pushing you. But yeah, I was trying to sell the company, but right when I was stepping out is when COVID was ending. And so the company was going down at that time, like, just revenue wise. So it was doing $2 million a month, and then it was like, 1.9, 1.8, 1.7. I was like, dude, what the fuck's going on? And then I came back in, and I think it was twofold. I think it was, I partially left it in a bad spot. I didn't leave it in as good a spot as I thought. And then the other part was I stepped out. And then the third part was the economy. Like, looking back, I don't because I like to take extreme ownership, I just don't like to blame outside factors. But now that I've seen cycles and I've seen different businesses and I've had different clients, there's a reason to explain, like, why is this client getting a 10x and this client's getting a 2x and they have the same funnels and this client's a better CEO than this client? It's like, because it's a better offer. It's as simple as that. I wish it was more complicated, but it's really that simple.
Do you think info businesses are sellable?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, you can sell it, but it's hard to. Usually, like, when I've seen people sell it, it's either like on a shitty deal. So it's like, get 2 million over 5 years, which, like, yes, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just like, it's not up front. Or two, you're going to have to stay in. The only way to really sell is like if you can prove that it's not dependent on you. But the issue with that is that you're going to make more money if you're the face of the brand versus not, unless you have an acquisition channel that's really not dependent on you. So like when Gym Launch sold, like when Hormozi sold Gym Launch, the only reason I think that worked so well is they had a lot of like, they had an outbound dialing team. They barely ran any ads. It was all referrals. So Alex was like, yeah, like it doesn't really matter if like I'm out there because of these things. If you think about most businesses, especially if you run ads, it's like, what happens if the ads go off? And they're like, well, it'll still work. It's like, well, who's in front of the ads? You. Okay, well, we're not going to let you go. So you have to start proving like other people can run the ads and you can be like less involved with the team and stuff like that. So you can, but I just think it's difficult. And to me, once I went through that process, I was like, dude, I'm just going to keep it smaller, make it a cash cow, and then move that cash into these other vehicles. And like, I think that was the best decision I ever made, to be quite honest.
What do you think is a sweet spot to get a business like that to then?
Like just good cash?
Yeah, because I think there's a point when you start scaling things, is like you alluded to earlier, like there's so much complexity, so much shit.
Yeah,
margins start going like it's almost more of a fucking headache than it's worth at some point.
That's a good question. I mean, so I've been everywhere between 0 to 2 million a month. I would say the best business is probably, depending on the person, like 100 to 200 a month. Because at 100K a month, you could have like a team of 5 or less. At 200K a month, you might have 7. But after your team expenses and ads, you're taking home like 100 something. Like let's say 130, 140. At 100, you're taking home maybe 70 or 80. So I'd say like 100 to 200K a month, because past that, you can still be involved in all the business. You can kind of have your hand a little bit in everything. Past that, you have to start getting managers, and they're starting to take over stuff. And that's where like things can slip. Doesn't mean they will, but obviously you're not as involved. So if you have like a head of client fulfillment, you're hoping he handles that shit. And if he doesn't handle that shit, then you're going to start having problems that, you might have to fix later.
What do you think is the hardest role to hire for in the business?
I mean, anything that has to think, any position that has to think. But like specifically, like the hardest position would be like replacing yourself like a CEO. Because you're doing 10 different things.
What did you do when you stepped out then? One of your brothers stepped in?
Yeah, one of my brothers stepped in. And he's great. And I mean, he's like an amazing worker, and he's working like for Hormozi now, and he makes $300 to $400 a year, so he's like a good worker. He just didn't have experience as a CEO, and that was my fault, because I trusted him so much, and he did the best of his ability, but he just hadn't done it before. And because he hadn't done it before, I think there were some issues like with decision making, right? Because like you have to look at the data, and based on the data, be able to know what to do. And if you haven't done it before, that can be a big task. So, yeah.
You clearly have a huge amount of drive, and you come from a very religious background as well, right?
Yeah.
Is it Mormon?
Super Mormon, yeah. Okay.
Do you think that was one of the things that really pushed you to kind of want to prove yourself and step out a little bit? And I know obviously you also had, you originally wanted to go and play American football and then got injured. Yeah. Was part of what gives you the drive is a bit of like a chip on the shoulder to keep kind of pushing and proving a point?
The biggest reason that I wanted to build a business and stuff is just, I didn't grow up with a ton. Like my dad was a teacher, my mom stayed at home. We had enough, but there's 7 kids. Like he'd make more from his side jobs than his main job. And so, it was like, hey, we're not going to pay for college. You guys got to kind of get your own cars. Like it was like very kind of like, good luck. Like we'll help you with your basics, and that's all you get. So the most of it was just like, I would see my parents kind of fighting growing up a little bit about bills. Nothing crazy, but they'd have arguments, and they'd have budgets all the time. And I was like, dude, I don't want to fucking live that way. Like I don't want to have a fucking budget meeting. And then number 2, And actually, I don't even think it was Mormonism or my dad. Maybe that had a little part, but I just got bullied like fucking crazy as a kid. And I got bullied a lot, I think, because I was pretty protected. Like, my parents were really religious. Like, I don't even think I knew what the F word was till like 5th grade. Like, I didn't even hear it before. And once I kind of had enough of the bullies, I started working out. After 3 months, I started getting all these compliments at school. I was like, oh shit. And then I started excelling at sports. I was like, yo, like this is cool. And then I just started transitioning to everything. And I just had the mindset, like the harder I work, the more results I get. Fitness was great because you can see it, right? If you get more patient, no one's gonna be like, wow, dude, you look way more patient today. It's like, no one's gonna say that. But like fitness, I could get like actual people saying like, wow, you see the results. And then I was like, wow, like this can transfer into other things. Those are probably the two big reasons. Just like I didn't grow up with a lot. And then I got fucked with a lot as a kid. And to be honest with you, what I realized as a man is if you're more jacked, you make more money, and you got a better girlfriend, hotter girlfriend, it's like, shut the fuck up. So I remember in school, like I would get to a point where people would fuck with me, and I was like, yeah, but like I'm better at sports than you, and I'm bigger than you, and I have a hotter girlfriend than you. And they'd be like, I was like, yeah, shut the fuck up. Like, because I just wanted something where like I hated like all the back and forth with words, and especially like, I was a nice kid. At least I used to be, but they would just like say fucked up shit. And I was like, what is wrong with you guys? And so I remember when I hit that, they couldn't say anything. Like I was captain of the football team. What are you going to say? Shut the fuck up. Like I had a really beautiful girlfriend. Shut up. I had straight A's. Like what? So I just made it like a point. I guess like I made it a point so like I could protect myself, because I remember as a kid, like my dad, this is a funny story. I came home and I was crying. I don't remember why I was crying, but my dad was like, dude, like, if you're going to come home crying every day, like, I think it was after a football practice, and he's like, American football. And he said, maybe you shouldn't play. And I was like, that's when I realized, like, my parents can't help me. Like, you're on your own. And, my dad would say, like, pray about it. And I was like, I prayed to God real hard, and, like, they still fuck with me. And so I think that was kind of like a little bit of a mindset shift where I tapped into kind of dark energy. And that's probably why I'm the way I am a little bit today. But like I'm glad it happened, to be honest, because I think that's what propelled me, but that's what I tapped into.
I'm personally very similar on a lot of things. I personally believe pain and like the dark energy will drive you way more than anything else.
Oh, yeah.
Like you get a lot more being pushed than rather kind of pulled. And I think it's kind of frowned upon to maybe kind of say that, but I think it's the kind of brutal reality of it is what it is.
I think in the beginning it's the best. Like when you're starting from nothing and you're broke and things are not going your way, I think it's the best. I think in the long run, it's not good, because like you're just a fucking angry, dwarf all the time. And I learned that myself. But I think in the beginning, like absolutely just use whatever you got. And so in the beginning, I was getting made fun of. I didn't have a lot of money growing up. I wanted more. Like I didn't want people to mess with me. I just used it and it worked. And I don't know if I hadn't gotten made fun of and messed with and stuff like that, or grow up kind of humble beginnings, I don't know if I would have been pushed to do it. And like, I actually know I wouldn't have, because I grew up in a pretty well-off neighborhood. And pretty much everyone I went to high school with, like, I look at them like, no, it's to each their own. I just look at them like, yeah, they didn't really do much. And a lot of their parents like would bail them out. My parents are like, yeah, I can't help you. I remember I was 14, I asked my dad to go to the movies, and he said, yeah, like, do you have a job? I was like, no. He's like, yeah, I guess can't go. And then he just walked off. Like, I was like, what the fuck? But that's how I grew up. So, and I think it helped me. I think you give your kids a hard life, they'll have an easy life. You give your kids an easy life, they'll have a hard life. That's how I think.
So I'm having a daughter in October, and one of the things for some reason never thought I'd have a daughter, and I thought I'd have a son. I was already preparing to have to maybe give him a bit of a hard time to try and like mold him.
Maybe that's why you have the daughter.
Yeah, to not be a pussy, if that kind of makes sense. And like a lot of people are probably going to hate this, but it's kind of the reality of what I see is you kind of, you need to push them a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think the big thing that you said something then that kind of really resonated with me was in regards to the way your kind of mindset shifted from one of your parents and like maybe not having some of the things you wanted. So for me, it was always being told like, not being able to have the things I wanted. I was like, I wanted to be able to do whatever I want, whenever I want, with whoever I want. Like to actually be able to have the freedom to do that. And I think that is ultimately when you probably have the life you want, where you can choose where you live, what you do, and when. And then you said something else that really hit home, was that you saw people maybe you were at college or from your local area, and they haven't done shit. That for me is the biggest regret I have, is someone being like, oh, that Charlie guy I went to school with, like, he didn't do anything.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, I don't know, like, it's weird. I don't know if I care what people say now. I think I did then, but yeah, I just look at people who like were in better situations than me and they did nothing with it. In fact, it was crazy. Like I played football with like multiple first round draft picks, like guys who would get 10 to $20 million salaries like first year. And man, some of them could have been so much better. I mean, they were fucking good, but I was like, man, you guys don't work hard at all. Like, just imagine if you did work hard. I remember I played with the guy who was going to go top 10 pick in the draft, so 8-figure contract. He dropped all the way to the second round because he couldn't stop smoking weed. I was like, bro, it's just fucking weed. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And he lost millions and millions and millions of dollars. But yeah, I think ultimately, like, that's the hard thing with it as a parent. Going back to that is, you want them to have a better life than you, but if you give it to them, they're going to have a worse life later on because you can't learn anything that way. Like, you have to have growth. You have to have struggle to get growth, excuse me.
Is a family and children something you want further down the line?
Yeah, bro, I've been wrestling with that a lot. I think so. Yeah, because I think I've always, I don't want to say I've always wanted that, but whenever a girl will say like she doesn't want kids, I'm kind of like, like I feel like I definitely want the option. I don't think I want a ton of kids, but I want a couple. And I've always wanted a very deep relationship. I think the thing that always gets me in trouble though, or has got me in trouble, is just like I'm really honest, like I'm brutally honest, and you know, I've always had a little bit of fear about one girl forever. Like that's been a fear of mine. And that's obviously gotten me into trouble sometimes. But outside of that, being single and just smashing a bunch of girls is not the way, I don't think. So it's never been like that debate. It's just like, you know, am I with one girl forever, or do I have like some type of, I don't know, ulterior relationship, if that makes sense. Maybe that's like a politically correct way to put it. But then even when I go down that rabbit hole, I don't think that's the right way either. Because I feel like it's either like you hurt your girl or like you got to deal with it. And I feel like probably the masculine thing to do is like fucking deal with it.
Are you religious though?
Kind of. I mean, I'm not against it. I you know, like we're in Dubai. There's a lot of Muslims here. And like a lot of Christian faiths, not all of them, most will say like, hey, if you don't believe in Jesus Christ, you go to hell. And I'm like, there's 4 billion Muslims. Like, and that just, to me, I'm like, if there's a God I believe in, he's going to throw half the world into hell because I'm like, that sounds fucking retarded to me. So there's like, you know, religion, sometimes it gets like I think people get so like by the book and shit. And I'm not like super attracted to that, but I definitely think there's like a greater being who made this and stuff. I mean, everything's like too perfect. Like when you talk about the science of like where the sun is and how the Earth's tilted and stuff. It's like if it was an inch this way, it'd be too close to the sun, or too far away and shit like that. So not religious, but I'm open-minded. Yeah.
So one of the things you clearly are is obviously very smart and very good at learning. What do you do in terms of learning new things, and say even like say AI coming out? How do you stay ahead of the curve with new things coming out? I know you also read a lot.
Yeah, so number one is reading. Like I actually love reading, and the reason I love reading is you kind of get like someone's mindset without their bias, right? So like they'll go through a book and maybe the book tells a story, but there's really no bias. It's just like, this is my story, and like take from it what you want. And so you can come to your own conclusions. Well, obviously when you talk to different humans, you can tell what their bias is. And so, you know, you don't know if you're being influenced by their biases or like you actually believe it. What I started doing though, like a few months ago, that got me really back in, because I read, but like sometimes like I don't. And I think what happened was I would start a book and then I would have to finish the book, and the book was just painful. Like it was just a shitty book. So what I've been doing recently is I listened to a podcast with Naval Ravikant, and he said, hey, as soon as it's boring, I just stop. And so since doing that, like I'm just cruising through books again, because about anything, like any subject I'm interested in. And then I'm learning a lot from that. Because a lot of the ways you learn is you just hear different ideas. So that's why sometimes meet new people, they say their ideas, you're like, oh, that's interesting, right? What I like about books is they're unbiased though, right? They're not like kind of quote unquote filtering maybe opinion. Outside of that, you know, your typical like coaching masterminds, like I've done millions worth of that, but ChatGPT, bro, is great. Like it's like my relationship coach now, honestly. Like I ask it shit, it's like, yeah, like this is what it means, and that's probably what she said. And I'm like, wow, that's actually like great advice. And I feel like it's better because it's pulling data from all these data points. Sometimes like when I've gotten relationship advice from different therapists, like it's hard if I feel like they're not in the position I'm in, right? So it might be a guy who makes, 40, 50 grand a year, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it's like, it's very different than maybe my lifestyle. But those would be the two biggest. I would say like a lot of reading, a lot of ChatGPT, and then like outside that, like coaching and stuff like that. But I've done that for years. So,
what are the best books you say you've read this year?
Oh, dude, yeah. So this one, I don't know. I want to say it's controversial, but there's a book I read by Neil Strauss. It's called The Truth. I posted about it. Bro, it was like, I couldn't put it down. I probably finished that thing in like 8 hours or something. It's like 400 pages. Like I just was like cruising. The reason I like the book is some guys will resonate this, some guys won't. But for me, I've always, I don't want to say I've always struggled, but I've always been like, I've always enjoyed relationships. But I've always been a little bit scared of like the one girl forever type thing. And anyway, so he starts the book and he's with his sweetheart or his girl. They end up breaking up because he's like, yeah, I can't just be with one girl, whatever. He goes and does like everything you can think of outside of traditional relationship, like stuff I wouldn't even think about. It was like way too crazy for me. Anyways, he gets to the end of the book and he ends back up with her. And so I'd say like the last 50 pages are kind of like all the lessons he learned. That had a really deep impact on me because just the way he like framed things and how he saw things. And the thing I liked about the book is it's not just theory. Some books are just like, yeah, so the way to think about this. And like, he just told his story. And then he's like, here's the lessons I got from it. That was a really good book. Another book I've really liked is called Self-Deception and Leadership by the Arbinger Institute. It like in a nutshell, you'll know exactly how people think and like why people do the things they do. Like I've loved that book. That was a really good book. Man, 3 books. I don't know if I have a third one. Off the top of my head, it's those 2. There's probably another one, but like that really stick out. Like that book, the reason I know it sticks out is those are the 2 books I refer to almost everybody. I'm like, you should read these books like no matter what. Those are probably like top 2, top 3 books. Yeah.
One of the things you mentioned there is therapists. So I've done some stuff with therapists before as well, to try and like understand how I think and feel and some of the weird shit I do.
Yeah.
And one of the things I found frustrating with it, which is actually why I like AI, I'll talk about this in a second, is it takes so long to explain the context of my backstory in the weird shit that's going on every day. Whereas like ChatGPT has all the information on everything I do every fucking week.
Yeah, and then on top of that, if they fucking suck, then you got to go do it again to the next guy. And like, at least for me, I don't say this from a cocky way. I'm just like, listen, I'm 6'2", I'm a multimillionaire, I'm fucking jacked. Like, you can't relate to me. Like, I don't even say it in a bad way. It's just like, it's hard for me to talk to guys who I don't feel like are in my position because I'm like, you're not in my position, so you don't know what it's like. Everyone's probably that way a little bit, but yeah, like that's the issue I had. And then, I tried like, BetterHelp and some shit like that. I was like trash, so there's a guy I actually work with sometimes. His name's Dr. Orion Terabon. He's actually got a massive YouTube channel. All I really had to do is I had to start finding kind of like what I call premium therapists. Like they're really high level and they work with like super like affluent people, stuff like that. That's been a lot better for me. But yeah, dude, ChatGPT, like you just put it all in and it like gives pretty good advice. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty fucking good actually. I'm like, what should I say to this? And it like cleans it up. I'm like, yeah, it's like, so that's what I've been trying. That's what I've liked doing. And then just like right now, I've been reading a lot of masculinity books, like a lot of like the top like relationship books for men. The Truth by Neil Strauss. There's another one called The Masculine Relationship. That was a really good book. You have The Way of the Superior Man. You got like a bunch of books like that. And then what's cool is some of these authors, they have coaching programs, but they're not really like, they don't really understand high tickets. So like this one guy right now, he's coaching me for like 3 months for $3,000. I'm like, bro, you could charge, I would have paid you like 30. I probably paid him fucking 300. And like, it's so cheap and they're so good because like they wrote the book and I like resonate with the book. So that's been kind of a cheat code for me too lately is like, those guys are the quote unquote therapists for me, but I already like know, like, and trust them because I read their book. Anyways.
I think that know, like, and trust is huge because also you're going to listen to their advice and do what they say because you believe in the whole concept.
Yeah. Or just someone you respect. Like if I'm talking to a guy I respect and he says, like, this is how I see it, I'll take that more to heart than someone who's like, yeah, like I never cheat on my wife or I'm faithful and stuff. I'm like, bro, you're 4 foot chubby. Like, come on. Like, it's not even an option for you. And I'm not saying that, like, I'm not I'm not saying like that's stuff I do or that's like behavior. I'm just trying to make a point. Like you're not loyal till your loyalty's been tested. Like, you know, when you have a chance to cheat and you don't, then you're loyal. But like some people, like they act like they're this certain thing. I'm like, bro, like it's not a thing for you. Like it's not even an option. So like you're like, how can you say you're that thing if that makes sense? Anyways.
Now you live in Miami, you're in Dubai at the moment. Yeah. How important do you think like geographical location is to being successful?
Yeah, dude. So like I'm technically out of Miami right now, so I don't have a lease right now. My dad just retired, and I went and saw him for 2 months, and I came over here. So like I'm kind of leaseless right now. I think it matters to an extent for sure. So it's been interesting since I've been out of Miami. The thing I noticed the most is like there's less distractions. I don't think I'm a guy who gets distracted, but just like being with my parents that are kind of in a suburb in Texas, there's like nothing to do. There's no girls. It's just so I would just like, yeah, there's nothing to do. So I'm just going to work. So I got through way more work. Like it just felt like I got through way more work, even though I work all the time, a lot easier. I also noticed because there weren't a lot of like, you know, half naked girls around, probably like, I don't know how Dubai is obviously because right now no one's here, but you know, there's a lot of beautiful girls there and they're like half naked. And so, you know, like that becomes a lot of your thought process. And so I think it's weird. Like, I think if I get a family, like I need to, like, I'm down to be close to a city, but I might want to be a little outside of it just so it makes it like a little easier to be a family man. But geographical location in terms of like seeing wealth, I think that pushes people. And some people need it. I think I'm at a point now where even if I go to like a remote location, I can push myself. But, you know, if you go from like a little suburb and then you go to a big city and you see a bunch of wealth, I think that definitely plays a part in people being successful, especially, you know, if they're like a little weaker mindset. Like it's like they see Lamborghinis, they see Bugattis, it's like, holy shit, bro, like there's some real money out here. And then it kind of helps push you. I don't think it's a big play for me now, but I think for most people, yeah.
I think it's that law of exposure thing at the beginning of actually seeing it's possible. Yeah. I think also when you traveled a lot and you suddenly realize like every city you go to, there's multi-million-dollar houses in every single place. Yeah. There's fucking millionaires everywhere. Yeah. Like, well, all these people have done it.
Yeah. It's just, yeah, I think for me, like you just, once you realize it's possible, I'm like, okay, then like I'm going to be one. That's it. And then you just do whatever you have to do to make it happen.
You mentioned billionaire earlier. Is that one of your longer term goals?
Dude, yeah, I go back and forth with it. I think I'd like to prove I can do it. I don't think I'm hell bent on it though. It's not like, oh my God, if I don't hit a fucking billion, like at all costs type thing. Even though I would say like I'm 90-10, right? So find the most like crazy entrepreneur you know, and they're like 100-0, right? Like no fun, no games, no fucking sunlight.
Who would be an example of that?
I don't want to say the name, but you probably
I know you probably
know what I'm talking about, yeah. Probably. But and he's a homie, but I'm like 90-10. Yeah. Like I'd say like I still occasionally like to go out, I still occasionally like to travel, like 90-10. But you change over time too, bro. Like, you know, what I think now is not what I thought 5 years ago and 5 years before that and 5 years before that. So I think as long as I keep progressing, I'm good. Like as long as I'm taking those steps to like make it possible. In terms of me actually hitting it though, I just know it's like, it's not going to matter. So if like it starts affecting my life in like a negative way, I don't think I'd push at that point. But I'd like to prove I can do it. And I just think, again, it won't be like me working harder. It'll just be having more leverage. And I think I've already started on that path. So I think it's possible. Like I've already done 115 million. And for sake of the conversation, 30% profit margin at scale is what I did. Let's say 50% went to taxes. So like I've made a lot of money, but if I can start building a business and sell it, and I'm also pretty young, plus my investments are going crazy and stuff, like I'm definitely going to end with 9 figures, no doubt. I mean, like that's not even a question. So it's like, can I hit 10? We'll see.
How old are you?
33 now.
Okay,
yeah.
so
I'm getting older, bro. It's like I talk to these 20-year-olds. I'm like, fuck.
Dude, fuck me, dude.
I know, it sucks.
Like, so I'm 35, and like suddenly I'm like, how did I suddenly in the last 2-3 years become like the oldest person?
Yeah, bro, it's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I remember just a day ago, I was like 22 starting this shit. Yeah.
But what that kind of leads me to is like the most powerful thing when it comes to money is time and the compound effect of that. Yeah. And if you look at where science is going and like medical technology, the reality is if we can make it to like 2035, which I like to think both of us will still be alive in 10 years time, we'll probably live to 130.
Bro, I hope so. Yeah, because I keep hearing that, and so I'm trying to take as good care of myself as I can right now, so I can extend it.
Because
hopefully.
if you think about that at that point, say you've got the growth in wealth you've had from 100 to 140 from doing nothing, just from being alive, would be wild.
Yeah.
And this is also, I was
it'd be super exciting. Yeah.
Like, I think that's the longer you can stay in the game, the more it's going to kind of escalate, which I think is kind of a weird fucking thing to think about, because we're all going to be like probably bionic human beings at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I hope so. I mean, with the shit Brian Johnson's doing, that's a little too much for me. But yeah, if there's a way, like, I mean, it makes sense. Like, if technology keeps advancing, I think it'll happen. The other thing is super random, but there's definitely going to be someone who gets like an AI wife or girlfriend. 100%. Like, I actually wonder how that's...
Dan Henry's probably going to start selling them.
I wonder how that's going to change the landscape. Because, like, I just think it would be wild. Like, and I bet you'll get to a point you can't tell. Who knows? But there might... I just assume, like, most guys will just opt for that because it's like, you don't deal with no bullshit. It's like, she doesn't complain. She doesn't cry. She doesn't need any money.
She upload the project file.
Yeah, she's quiet. She like I mean, we'll see. But I also am like, man, maybe that takes us down like a really dark path. But I don't know.
But then you also even have to look at like population collapse, which is actually a problem already in Europe with the population declining rapidly. It's like there's so many open loops when you start going down rabbit holes.
Yeah, but it's definitely gonna happen. Like, I think for sure, like, definitely in the next 10, 15 years, someone's gonna have like an AI wife, 100%. So, it's not, you know, if I'm having a bad day, I consider it. I'm like, maybe I'll do that. I don't know. I'm just kidding, but.
Thank you for your time today. It's been so super helpful. If you've got any last message to give to anyone who's listening to this, who's maybe an inspiring entrepreneur, of like the biggest thing they should probably focus on the next 24 months?
Dude, like, people always ask me, like, what's the number one piece of advice you would have given your younger self, like, looking back? I just wish I had told myself, like, don't be such a big pussy and just fucking hire someone. Because I spent 2 years, like 2 to 3 years, 22 to 25. Like, it was close to the end. Like, I was almost turning 23 and then 25. Like, I just had all these excuses. Like, I was like, oh, like I didn't know there was coaching, first off. Like, as crazy as that sounds, like, I didn't know there were people you could pay for that. Then I was like, oh, I can't afford it. You know, like, I got time, right? Like, I remember adults telling me, oh, I got time. And, you know, 25, I was in the same spot. Exact same spot. And I was like, bro, fuck this. Like, this is terrible. And then I actually hired someone. And don't get me wrong, like, it's not like hiring people, every experience is good. I'd say, you know, I've invested like well over 3 million at least, minimum. That's what I stopped counting. In like coaching, consulting, whatever. And I'd say 80%, like, you leave and you're like, yeah, it was okay. Like, I probably could have skipped it. 20% was like really moved the needle, but the 80% that quote unquote was a waste, like, you still learn what not to do. And if you have 10 doors and, you know, don't go through doors 1 through 5, I'm like, that's still helpful, dumbass. Like, people, like, they don't see that. And I think a lot of people get stuck because they fear more than regret. And it's like, dude, if you don't know what to do and you're not making progress within at least a couple months, you should hire a coach. What's crazy to me is I will see people 2-3 years later, they're in the same spot. I'm like, dude, it's literally makes no sense. Like, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. And they're bitching over 10 grand, but I'm like, if 10 grand can make you $1 million, what's the difference? And you don't know. But if you look at my life, I took a different path. And if I had been an engineer to date, I'd probably make, what, 600 grand in 6 years? I made 115. So 115 minus 600 grand is about 114 million point 400 or 400,000. Like, it's like a no-brainer. So that's just the biggest piece of advice I'd say, because that was what really catapulted my life. There's a million things I could say, but I just think most people, it's like, dude, just like figure out a way to win and then do whatever it takes. Because most people, I think, they're just scared, and you just got to get over it.
I think for me, that's been the biggest shortcut that's got me to where I've been, is just literally find the problem I have, pay the person who can solve it, and off you go. Yeah. With that, what would be your solution in terms of, I think there's a lot of people out there who are like, use the apostrophe of like scamming people or burning people, as people like to say. What do you think people should look for in someone who can solve their problems? Yeah. So, I mean, first off, like, it's like, it's going to happen regardless. Meaning, like, if you go to college, you're going to get a bad teacher. If you hire a coach, you're going to get a bad coach. Like, suck it the fuck up. Like, you date girls, you're going to get a bad girlfriend. Like, what are you going to do? Date boys? Like, it's just, I never understand the thought. It's like, just get over it. But number 2 is like, I look at 3 things. So number 1 is experience. So I'll just use myself as an example. So I go, okay, I've done 115 million sales. This guy maybe hasn't. Who's more likely to help you? Doesn't mean the other guy can't. It's just like, who could more likely help you?
That's what I'll say. Then I'll say specificity. So if I hire a real estate billionaire to help me build my fitness business, it's like that he could maybe, but like he doesn't really have any specificity. Or like Tiger Woods to teach you basketball, Michael Jordan to teach you golf. It's like, that's fucking retarded. So specificity. And then number 3 is attention. So would you rather have 5 minutes with Bill Gates or 5 hours with Bill Gates' team? It's like, I'll take Bill Gates' team. It's like, if I get 5 minutes with Bill Gates, what the hell is that going to do? So I usually tell people, look at those 3 things, ignore everything else they say on the sales call. Cause I'm like, look, I still do sales calls just like you, but it's like, bro, like, honestly, I think they're fucking stupid. It's like, what do you think the sales rep's going to tell you? Yeah, our program fucking sucks and it's like really risky. Don't like, what do you think they're going to say? So if you look at those 3 things, that to me is the best way to figure out, okay, here's what I need to do. And this is probably the best person to do it. And then just go from there. And then if it's a bad experience, you learn from it. But I've just learned, like, I don't even take sales calls anymore. I just like, what do you do? Tell me the price, like this and that. And usually I'll just send people like money right after that via DM if I'm going to do it. I don't even do sales calls anymore, to be honest.
I think the couple of last things I signed up for, I literally just did it on DM, just send me the payment link, I'll just sign up. Because if I've already asked, I've already made a decision. I want to do
because the reality is like, you just will never know. You can ask them every fucking question you want, but the reality is like, you don't know if they're full of shit or not. You just don't. And they're not going to like, what are they going to say? Yeah, I'm full of shit, dude. I'm lying to you. So it's like, make an educated guess, take a fucking leap and go from there. That's just the best you can do. It's like, and that's life. Like not everything's going to work out, but I just don't understand people who throw a hissy fit. It's like, that's life. You just like got to keep getting up more times than you fall down. That's it.
I think it's some solid advice to finish up on.
Yeah.
Where's the best place for people to find out about you?
2 places. So Instagram, Tanner.Chidester, and then YouTube, same thing, Tanner.Chidester. And like YouTube's kind of more like long form, obviously, like strategic stuff. And Instagram is a little bit of like personal life, a little bit of business, a little bit of philosophy. So those are 2 places.
Big thank you.
Yeah.
Guys, enjoyed the episode. Make sure you smash the like button, subscribe, and check out the other episode on screen right now. And we'll see you next episode shortly.